man spent many a moon in the front office of the Green Bay Packers. And he joins us here now on the Rich Eisen Show to give us his perspective. You can catch his Business of Sports podcast and his Sunday 7 newsletter free to your email every Sunday morning at andrewbrandt.com. Andrew Brandt here on the Rich Eisen Show. How you been, sir?
I've been well, my friend. It's good to be with you. And, whenever we talk about Aaron, I think I want to give some perspective. 15 years ago, we take Aaron in the first round. Everyone hated it. The crowd below us at Lambeau Field booed so hard it shook our souls that we took Aaron Rodgers. And then it was 3 years, Rich. It was 3 years of managing these relationships where I'm dealing with Brett Favre's camp pretty much every week or so. Andrew, do you know what it's like to come into work every day and sit with your replacement? It's no fun. It's no fun. And then Aaron's camp would be, is he ever going to play? Like, Brett's never going to retire, so is he ever going to play there? What are you going to do? And you just try to be professional and tactful and understanding, but you don't have the answers. And if you did, you don't want to give the answers because you want to maintain flexibility as an organization to when you make the move and turn the keys over to Aaron Rodgers. So that's what happened. Now you fast forward 15 years, they've done the same thing again.
It's unbelievable.
And I said it the day they drafted Jordan Love. I hope they're ready to manage this. Forget about on the field. Are they ready to manage this? And this is what I mean about management. You're going to have agents and hurt feelings and wanting answers all the time, like all the time. And I don't know if they've managed it well because Aaron was a good soldier. He was, Brett called us seconds after the pick, and he was livid. But Aaron, said all the right things. But you could tell after the championship game, he was kind of like, what are we doing here? And I think the Packers all along, in my mind, I don't know inside knowledge on this, was to move to Jordan Love in 2022. And I get the sense that Aaron's like, well, what am I doing here? You want me to be a placeholder while I'm the MVP of the league. So I think it's the control of the timeline is what's at issue here.
Well, then there's a couple of questions of what you just said, I guess, in a preamble to start our conversation here, Andrew, is that there are some differences, one that I know and one that I'm wondering about. Let's start with the one that I'm wondering about. Did you guys give Favre a heads up that you were going to take Aaron Rodgers, or you couldn't really do that because you didn't expect him to fall down to 24 unless you watched Mike Mayock's preview on NFL Total Access days before the draft where he nailed it. So did you give Favre a heads up before making the pick or no?
We did not. And as you said, two things happened that night. Number one, all the players we had rated as first-round grades, except one, were taken. And the one that was still on the board was not taken by all these teams that had told him to his face if he was there, they'd take him. So we had a lot of conversation in those combustible moments before the pick, and the coaches are crazy, like, why would we do that? He's not going to help us this year, maybe not next year, maybe never. And Ted Thompson, bless his heart, looked at me and everyone else and said, well, Andrew, what do we always say? Trust the board. Trust the board. And I said, Ted, Brett's going to be upset. Fans are going to be upset. Aaron's going to be upset coming to a cold place where he's not going to play. And he said, I don't care. We trust the board here. And he had that fortitude to do that. So, no, Brett did not find out to the rest of us. And like I said, he called the coach within seconds, and Bus Cook called me within seconds.
And what happened?
Bus is like, what the F?
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing? You want to replace him? And I just said, we have to prepare for the future. The organizations have to evolve. At some point, Brett is going to retire. There obviously been rumors up to that point. We got to be prepared. And then, as I said, it was the cavalcade over years of, it's not great walking into work every day, sitting with your replacement. That's no fun. And I said, I get that. But we've got to prepare as an organization.
And so what was Favre's commentary about? He called the coach right, or he called McCarthy right away?
No, it was the last year of Mike Sherman.
The Sherman,
and
okay.
He did call, and I think those conversations were ongoing. And
that's a good way to put it. Ongoing. I love it. Fantastic.
Well, ongoing until 3 years later.
Right.
He retires. We turn the team over to Aaron. And as I suspected, gosh, I wish he'd get the itch, and he did, of course. And there was that fateful day, I think it was June 20th, 2008. Mike McCarthy said 3 words that no player wants to hear. And he said it to a Hall of Famer that was the face of the franchise for 20 years. He said, "We've moved on." And when I heard, when I saw Bus and Brett hear those words, it was almost like, this is the most poignant words they ever heard. He said, "I'm sorry, we've moved on. And we were not going to take the keys from Aaron and give them back to Brett. That's just not what we're going to do."
Andrew Brandt.
And then, of course, the divorce, yeah.
Yeah, Andrew Brandt of Sports Illustrated, former Packers executive, right here on the Rich Eisen Show. And one thing, though, as we're strolling down memory lane here, about the remarkable similarities between the time that you were there when you drafted Aaron Rodgers along with Ted Thompson, and Favre was in the building, and now Rodgers is in the role of Favre, and Jordan Love is in the role of Rodgers. And you said you got calls from Favre's representative and Bus Cook saying what gives, and you got a call from Rodgers' representative saying what gives. The difference is now is Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers are represented by the same agent in David Dunn. So what do you think the David Dunn conversations with Brian Gutekunst are like right about now? Andrew, what do you think?
Well, as a former agent, if you look at it from a 360-degree view, the best scenario for the agent is probably having Aaron running one team and Jordan running the Packers. Because then you'd have 2 starting quarterbacks in a situation where you can only have one. I don't know. The whole thing to me, Rich, is people talk about money and upgrading past Mahomes and doing future guarantees and the contract. Like, you don't even get to the money. The money's easy. That's what I did for 10 years. We can figure that out. But you don't get to the money until you figure out what is the problem here. And what concerns me the most of this whole thing is that LaFleur, Gutekunst, and Murphy reportedly have been out there and sat in L.A. and sat in front of Aaron and tried to address the grievances, and here we are. People ask, what would I do? Of course, I'd do the same thing. I'd get in front of them, close the doors, lock the bathrooms. What's the problem? How can we fix it? But it sounds like that's happened. So now where do you go? And ultimately, it's up to Aaron. I mean, they're not trading him. They're not trading him. They're not trading him. They may trade him in 2022, but they're not trading him in 2021. So then the ball's going to be in Aaron's court.
So the options are to hold out and then get through training camp. And, this conversation is about taking place about a half an hour before we're expecting to hear from Jordan Love. Already Bakhtiari and Devontae Adams have answered the question. LaFleur is coming up with different ways to say, I don't have an answer, where we'd love to have him back. I'm only going to coach the guys that I'm here. I'm like, he's going to run. It's June 7th and 8th now, and we're running out of that time. 9th. What's that going to be like July, August 9th, September 9th? We just saw Jordan Love struggle in his, mini camp drills. Invariably, he would struggle week 1 against the Saints, my Lord. So really, that's the way this is going to play out, you think, Andrew?
Yeah, my saying, deadline spur action.
Right.
This was not a deadline in my mind. There's no deadline to mini camp. They can fine them $90,000. They probably won't, in my opinion. Then you get to training camp. They have to fine them, according to CBA. They can't rescind those fines. They're $50,000 a day, but I don't think training camp's a deadline either. I think, like you just intimated, deep into training camp, there'll be some kind of deadline. But again, Aaron's, once you get past holdouts, Rich, what are the two? There are 2 options: playing for the Packers or not playing football. And I know Aaron doesn't want to retire. I think if he retires, it would be a total feeling like he can't participate in this organization anymore. Somewhere along the way, there's been a breach of trust between the front office and Aaron. And I don't know what it is. It's way beyond Jordan Love and calling him draft room and all that. That's not it. I just think he doesn't have someone in that front office that he feels he can trust. And something has breached that relationship.
So there's no fix, Andrew. I mean, there's no. That's the ultimate. Unless Aaron gets over, for the lack of a better phrase, whatever breach has occurred. That's basically what you're saying to me right here on this Wednesday of mandatory minicamp that he did not show up at. That's essentially it.
Yeah, and I'm saying, having been in that chair for 10 years, the Packers front office chair, I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to have their cake and eat it too. They're trying to have the MVP, get them to another championship games, Super Bowl in 2021, and then move on and give Love a real opportunity to be a backup this year. And I get it. But Aaron's sitting there saying, well, I'm not down with that.
Of course not.
You know, you want me to be a placeholder while I'm the MVP of the league? So to me, it's like a battle for, Aaron's probably saying, and maybe Dave Dunn's saying, let's just do this now. Let's do it now. Why wait a year? Because the Packers are like, we do want to wait a year. We want Aaron Rodgers' level of talent and then maximize trade value in March.
So then I guess the last question for you, Andrew, is did they just meet Aaron Rodgers? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it's, in all honesty, Gutekunst has been there since, 97? He had a front row seat to everything that you're kind of talking about right now. All right. And Mark Murphy's been there forever and a day. He's had a front row seat. Did they just meet the guy? I mean, what do you expect? Like, he knows when he's being managed. He knows 2022 is the time. He gave him a freebie in 2020. He's not going to give him a freebie in 2021. He's already said that. Like, what do you expect?
That's a great question. And Aaron, as well as I do, what you just described. He can put people, as he calls it, on blast sometimes. And listen, Ted Thompson was an elite evaluator, but he was not a communicator. And he said to me and John Schneider and Reggie McKenzie and John Dorsey, you guys do that. And I don't know if Brian has that or is trying to do it himself. I'm sure Brian's an elite evaluator as well. And is he doing the communication? Is he having someone else do that? Are they getting stilted between him and Murphy and Russ Ball? I mean, it just sounds like exactly what you said. Like, what are they missing with Aaron, and why are these meetings in L.A. not advancing the ball at all? So I'm left scratching my head, as you are.
Andrew, thanks for the time. The Business of Sports podcast host, the MMQB columnist, and also get his Sunday 7 newsletter free delivered to your email every Sunday morning. You sign up at Andrew-Brandt, BRANDT.com. Let's continue this conversation. Thanks for the call, sir.
Thanks, Rich. Talk soon.
You bet. That's Andrew Brandt. Follow him on Twitter at Andrew Brandt. I do as well. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.